that Nagamali was using, rather than directly left the scene, returned with a machete, and fatally attacked Nagamalia, beheading him. Despite attempts by Nagamalia's wife and son to intervene, the assault has continued, culminating in the decapitation of the victim. Cobos Martinez then allegedly picked up the head and disposed of the severed head in a dumpster. There's footage of that. He's 37 years old. He was arrested at the scene and charged with capital murder. He was also found covered in blood and in possession of the machete used in the attack. A further investigation revealed that Cobos Martinez had been previously released from U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, that's ICE, custody earlier this year due to a lack of deportation flights to Cuba. He's got a criminal record as well, and ICE officials have expressed concern that his release may have contributed to this tragic and horrific event.
We keep our focus on the US, where Sam Altman says OpenAI whistleblower Suchir Balaji, who in fact died last year, was like a friend, to quote the OpenAI founder. He also backed the police ruling that Balaji's death was indeed a suicide, a finding rejected by Elon Musk. Now, the Tesla CEO, on the other hand, has publicly insisted that the researcher was quote-unquote murdered. Suchir Balaji, an Indian origin AI researcher, worked at OpenAI for 4 years before he was found dead in his apartment in November 2024. Now, this is weeks after he accused the company, OpenAI that is, of copyright violations. We shift our focus eastwards to Nepal, where the army is now in charge of national security, and it has issued a prohibitory order till 5 p.m. today, that's Friday. And again, in fact, from 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. The army said that the move was necessary as violent agitators continued to cause arson, looting, property damage and attempted attacks during the protests. However, during the prohibitory order and curfew in place, the vehicles for essential services would be operated as usual. That's what the army is saying. Now, on the third day of the Gen Z protest, a little calm was witnessed in the Kathmandu Valley with the massive presence of security personnel. Now, this included the Nepali army on the streets. My colleague Aditya Raj Kaul, meanwhile, gets you more.
Well, the formation of the interim government here in Nepal is almost imminent. There have been hectic negotiations that have been underway. Sushila Karki, the former Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Nepal, could be becoming the first female Prime Minister of Nepal. Even though it's an interim government, it's a big, massive mandate that the youth and the Gen Z of Nepal have given her. But the announcement might happen soon. But we have with us a journalist here at the Reporters Club in Kathmandu to help us explain what's happening right now. Prince Mishra, thank you very much for joining us. You've been covering and traveling all across Kathmandu to get people the latest updates.
Of course, Aditya, whatever scenario is going on in Kathmandu, we are so much devastated, and we are also a panic because the whole country is at the panic moment right now, and we hope that Nepal must go through an interim government right now. Especially you have taken a name like Sushila Karki and Balen Saha. Yeah, Balen Saha is supporting Sushila Karki, and we hope, we wish, let's see, by today, might be President will appoint her as a first Lady Prime Minister of Nepal. Sushila Karki might be going to be first Lady Prime Minister of Nepal.
Constitution has failed, and these parties are trying to set a trap on us by saying Constitution should be alive and this Constitution should back up. But the Constitution doesn't has any provision to do direct election till now. And the main demand was anti-corruption, direct election of Prime Minister and other ministers. But this Constitution doesn't allow it. And to amend the Constitution, we should have the persons who were elected by people. If we bring back them, what is the reason to do the protest? Where we end up, we are only in the verge of trap. Everywhere every step we are taking forward, we are in the trap. We are in the trap of this government.
Reporting from Kathmandu, this is Aditya Raj Kaul for NDTV.
Now on to the Charlie Kirk shooting case, viewers. The FBI and the Utah authorities have released new surveillance footage showing the suspect, in fact, fleeing the scene of the crime, sprinting across a rooftop, dropping over the edge, and eventually disappearing into a wooded area. That's what we're learning. Investigators have further identified several distinctive features. A black t-shirt to begin with an American flag designed, and Converse sneakers. The suspect is wanted in connection with the killing of Charlie Kirk, a prominent ally of President Donald Trump. Meanwhile, officials are saying that they are working around the clock to build a case strong enough to pursue the death penalty and nothing less. While no arrests have been made so far, reports suggest police have identified a person of interest. Meanwhile, the FBI is offering a $100,000 reward for information leading to the suspect. We get you the reactions, followed by my colleague Priyanka Deo, who unpacks what's the latest development.
This is, I would just say, this is not just a local matter here in Utah. We have people all over the country that are helping to bring this perpetrator to justice for Charlie Kirk and his family. I will just add as well that, as was mentioned, there is a lot of forensic evidence that is being processed right now at both the state lab and the federal labs, federal lab on the East Coast. So we are working in tandem together.
How do you want to see your supporters respond to this? Charlie Kirk was a big advocate of nonviolence and free speech on campus. How do you want your supporters to respond, sir?
I think that way. He was an advocate of nonviolence. That's the way I'd like to see people respond. Say it?
Did you speak with his family?
I did. I spoke to Erica, his wife, and we had a long talk, and she's devastated. She is absolutely devastated, as you can imagine.
Are you concerned?
What do you think about the media that justify the murder of Charlie Kirk?
I think it's terrible. They ought to be ashamed of themselves. It's terrible.
Why haven't they found the shooter yet, Mr. President? Are you concerned that it's been 24 hours?
Well, I hear they're making big progress, and we'll have to see what happens.
Do you have any indication of the shooter's motivation, sir?
I have an indication, yeah, but we'll let you know about that later.
There has actually been a press conference, and it has provided, I would say, critical updates on the ongoing investigation. Of course, we've seen social media posts of JD Vance and Erica holding Usha Vance's hand as they're walking down the plane. But according to this press conference, Special Agent in Charge Robert Bowles emphasized the FBI's commitment to work tirelessly with local law enforcement to identify and apprehend this perpetrator. He's also assured the public that the agency is fully dedicated to resolving this case as well as bringing justice to the affected. The FBI also released surveillance images of a person of interest and offered a reward of up to $100,000 for any information leading to the identification and arrest of this individual responsible for the shooting. Authorities have so far, according to the press conference, received over 7,000 tips and conducted approximately 200 plus interviews as part of the ongoing investigation. Now, officials have stated that the community is not at risk, describing this incident as a targeted attack. The shot was taken from about 142 yards away. Another thing that has been discovered is a high-powered bolt-action rifle that is believed to have been used in the attack was found in a nearby wooded area. Authorities have also gathered forensic evidence, including footwear impression, palm prints, and forearm prints, which are being analyzed. The rifle also had markings or stickers which said transgender and anti-fascist, pointing towards perhaps an ideological disagreement or ideological intent towards Charlie Kirk, meaning that this could have been an assassination. Now, this means that the FBI is very, very proactive in addressing the shooting. Trump has also said that as soon as the perpetrator has been caught, we will deal with them appropriately. So investigations are ongoing very, very actively. The nation has been sort of shocked, but the death of Charlie Kirk actually reveals just how polarized America has gotten and just how dangerous America has gotten.
Stay with the US where President Donald Trump's nominee for ambassador to India, Sergio Gore, has suggested that the president could very well visit India later this year to attend the Quad Leaders Summit. Now, speaking before the Senate Foreign Relations Committee at his confirmation hearing, Gore, who also happens to be a longtime close aide of Trump, said, and I'm quoting him here, the president is fully committed to engaging with Quad leaders. Discussions are already underway regarding a possible trip for the next summit. Responding to a query on leveraging US-India ties to help resolve the Ukraine conflict, Gore said, our president has a deep friendship with Prime Minister Modi, and that is something unique. Listen in.
The Quad is vitally important. In fact, after Secretary Rubio was sworn in and clapped in at the State Department, 1 hour after his first meeting at Foggy Bottom was meeting with the foreign ministers of the Quad. The president is committed to continual engagement with the Quad. In fact, there's already been talks on a trip for the next Quad meeting.
Sergio Gore, who is the nominee to India, which is, I would say, one of the top relationships the United States has in the world today in terms of the future of what the world's going to look like. 21st century, the story is going to be written in the Indo-Pacific. In fact, it's so important we've actually changed the name of the combatant command to the Indo-Pacific. India is at the core of that. And we are in a period of extraordinary transition in that relationship with India. We've got some really important issues coming up that we need to work with them on and work through on that implicate what's happening from Ukraine, but also implicate what's happening in the region. When you interact with these countries, having a representative in a place like India that has direct access to the Oval Office, to the president, and who they know can get things done both in the administration and through the Oval Office is critically important.
A panel of Brazilian Supreme Court justices have sentenced former President Jair Bolsonaro to 27 years and 3 months in prison Thursday after convicting him of attempting a coup to remain in office despite his 2022 electoral defeat. Now, Bolsonaro is currently under house arrest in Brasilia, capital Brasilia, as we get you this bulletin. Now, he can appeal the sentence. 4 of the 5 justices reviewing the case in the panel found that far-right politician is guilty on 5 counts. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump said hours later the conviction was very surprising. We get you Trump's reaction.
Well, I watched that trial. I know him pretty well. Foreign leader. I thought he was a good president of Brazil. And it's very surprising that that could happen. That's very much like they tried to do with me, but they didn't get away with it at all.
Staying with Trump, he led US officials in paying tributes both to the victims of the 9/11 attacks and to the right-wing activist Charlie Kirk, who was shot dead just a day earlier. Now, speaking at a ceremony at the Pentagon or the Department of War now, one of the sites struck during the Al-Qaeda attacks 24 years ago, Trump hailed Kirk as a giant of his generation and a champion of liberty.
Because my husband came home, they found him on the 7th day.
The nation needs to come together. It did affect the entire nation, affected the entire world, actually. I find it peaceful and comforting to come here.
Well, it's another day, another controversy. Who am I talking about? Of course, Donald Trump. Well, he's again sparked buddies about his health after he and First Lady Melania Trump attended the 9/11 event. Videos of the event, which have since gone viral, and screen grabs circulating on social media show a droop in Trump's face to one side, as you see there on the screens. Now, if you think protein is just for gym buffs chugging powders in form of whey protein, you need to think again, viewers, because it's 2025 and protein is, well, it's crashing the party in every Indian kitchen with fortified rotis, high protein snacks, and even your milk carton joining the revolution now. The protein market is only starting to explode into a multi-billion-dollar bonanza, and it's not just muscle heads who are cashing in, but every family on the table, every family across the board now is joining in. Take a look at this report by my colleague Ashwarya.
For years, protein in India meant powders and bodybuilders, but not anymore. Today, we find them in our everyday foods, and the market is booming. India's protein market is worth $1.5 billion and could touch about $2.4 billion by 2030. Protein-based packaged foods alone may jump from about 38,000 crore rupees today to 1.3 lakh crores by 2033. Globally, fortified foods are a $66 billion industry, heading past $100 billion this decade. While in supermarkets you may have seen protein-rich oats, peanut butter and more, the latest addition in the industry is ITC's Ashirwad Protein Atta. But these products are not alone. They join crowded shelves at retail stores. Amul's high-protein milk, Nestle's yogurt, as well as protein bars and Tata's millet-based products. A niche that is currently at over 300 crores will balloon up to $4 billion by 2030.
There's a very thin line between what FMCG is doing versus, what is actually given to the consumer at the end of it. So some of it is great. Fortified atta, staples, it's great. It's also affordable in comparison. But when you compare protein water to, say, just regular milk, which is way, way more, cost effective, giving you the same amount of protein, giving you giving you calcium along with it. I mean, I would definitely choose that option over something that's packaged and just sold to us as protein water.
The demand is real. Surveys show 73% of Indians are protein deficient. Most consume 60 grams a day against the recommended 1 gram per kilo of body weight. Consumer behavior is now evolving. Once wary of protein-based foods, urban Indian consumers are now calorie counters, label checkers, and also want that little bit of a protein kick, driving that sweet spot of double-digit growth. But do we all really need this kind of a protein boost? Maybe not in mega scoops, but for a nation that is protein deficient, fortified foods could act as a smart option.
And well, with that, it's time we step into a short break. Much more on the other side.
This is the Zorawar, India's very own light tank. Built for a very specific requirement, to defend our forces and attack when necessary in high-altitude areas. Conceived of in the post-Galwan context and in direct response to the emergence of the Chinese Type 15 light tank, the Zorawar is meant to plug holes in India's armoured defences. At the moment, India uses heavy tanks, the T-90 and T-72, way up in the Ladakh heights. These are far too heavy and unwieldy for operations in the rarefied atmosphere. And so, Zorawar was designed and developed in 21 months straight. Weighing in at 25 tons, close to half the weight of the older tanks, the Zorawar can be easily airlifted and is built with the future in mind. Upgradability. Designed to operate with drones, it'll also feature an active protection system, a system which intercepts incoming missiles and rockets to protect the tank. But these upgrades will come later. At the moment, the army appears committed to the tank, which is being trialled not just in high altitude areas, but also the desert. The Zorawar weighs 25 tons. It has a power-to-weight ratio of 30 horsepower per ton. That's key in the mountains. It has a 1,000 horsepower engine. It's amphibious. It can ford rivers and lakes. It can fire missiles, has a 105mm main gun, a 12.7mm remote-controlled weapon station, and a 7.62mm coaxial machine gun. In trials in September last year at the Mahendran firing range near Bikaner, the Zorawar hit its targets with pinpoint accuracy, using its Belgian-designed gun, proving its lethality. Zorawar's development is a triumph of collaboration and indigenization. led by the Defence Research and Development Organisation and Larsen & Toubro, with contributions from micro, small and medium enterprises, the tank boasts over 70% indigenous content. From its hull to advanced systems, Indian industries have risen to the challenge, reducing reliance on foreign technology. Unlike the Arjun main battle tank, which faced delays and cost overruns because of an overemphasis on full indigenization, the Zorawar takes a pragmatic approach, incorporating foreign components like the Cummins engine and the Cockerell gun turret while pushing for local manufacturing. The Army may eventually end up operating 700 Zorawar tanks.
Welcome back. You're watching this Friday edition of the World Report. Now we get you updates from the world of business, where the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission moved on Thursday to dismiss its case against Trevor Milton, the founder and former CEO of Nikola. Now, it's a company that sought to make electric and hydrogen-powered trucks, heavy vehicles. In the case filed in 2021, in fact, U.S. prosecutors accused Milton of falsely claiming that Nikola had built an electric and hydrogen-powered pickup from scratch and had in fact developed batteries in-house while knowingly sourcing them externally. Shares in Warner Bros. Discovery and Paramount Skydance jumped after reports surfaced that Paramount Skydance is preparing a bid to acquire its arch rival. Now, the proposed offer would cover Warner Bros. Discovery's entire business, including CNN, HBO, and the famed film studio behind Barbie and Harry Potter's Belle. Now, if completed, the deal would mark another wave of consolidation in U.S. media sector, already transformed by the rise. News from the sports buzz, where the governing body of the World Soccer said on Thursday that more than 1.5 million ticket applications from the fans in 210 countries have already been received by FIFA within 24 hours of the pre-sale draw for the 2026 World Cup being launched. The extraordinary global demand for the tournament came primarily from the United States, Mexico, and Canada in this case. The countries were followed by Argentina, Colombia, Brazil, England, Spain, Portugal, and finally Germany. When he made his 1975 blockbuster Jaws, Steven Spielberg was just 26. He was a talented director taking on a killer shark thriller that nearly sank his budding career before launching him into Hollywood history. Now, on Wednesday, stepping onto the stage at the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures to help launch a new exhibition marking the film's 50th anniversary, the now 78-year-old filmmaker said he felt just as unprepared now as he did then. We get you more.
Really was not ready to endure the amount of obstacles that were thrown in our path, starting with Mother Nature. I really thought my hubris was we could take a Hollywood crew, go out 12 miles out into the Atlantic Ocean and shoot an entire movie with a mechanical shark. I thought that was going to go swimmingly. And I had really no idea that the second you tempt Mother Nature and tempt fate, everything starts to conspire against you and us. And it was what you've read about and what the exhibition kind of suggests. This was a real exercise in hubris and futility, but because all of us never wanted to quit, and that was the whole reason we finished the movie.
And well, that's all the updates we have for you this Friday on the World Report. Take care and have a lovely weekend.
Before we began this episode, Vishnu was walking around this gun right now and having a really good time. Vishnu, the weapons. Let's talk about the weapons right now.
No, I think the weapons are absolutely incredible. And Commodore, why don't you come in on this? This is an upgraded gun mount. Eventually, all of the ships of this class will have this upgraded gun mount. She carries BrahMos missiles, MR SAMs as well. How does this represent one of the most formidable capabilities for ships of this class, not just in the region, but anywhere in the world?
So Vishnu, I would like to highlight one very important aspect in this class of ships, and that is the indigenous fire punch that we pack with us. Yeah. So weapons, sensors are very complex systems, and very few countries across the world have this capability to have very potent and very credible weapon and sensor package. So what the P-17 Alpha class of ship gets to the table is the fact that the larger majority of our weapons are indigenous. They are built, designed and operated and maintained thereafter throughout their life cycle by the companies and the wherewithal of India. And that's a really proud moment for us to have this opportunity and this capability with us that today we showcase. So if we take this, the super rapid gun mount, which is there in front of us, an amazingly formidable weapon capable of deploying ammunition across multi-domains for multi-role, multi-tasks. So the SRGM is one of the best weapons in the world, and we proudly host this on board our class of ship. Addition to this is also the BrahMos, which you spoke of. It's proven its mettle, its battle worthiness, and we feel amazingly proud to be today here having this capability with us. Again, an indigenous capability. What you see thereafter is also the integrated rocket launcher. So whilst we are very formidable in the above water warfare, the underwater warfare itself is also a very challenging domain that we face today. And in that also, if you see the package that we have with us, the integrated rocket launchers, 2 of them, they are again indigenous in nature and give us great capability. When I speak of the sensors also, the sonar, it's a Hamsa Mark III sonar that we are operating.
Indian sonar.
It's an Indian sonar. So that gives us the immense pride of hosting the entire capability which we are hosting is of indigenous nature. This AK-630 gun that we have, which has got huge firepower, is again something which is indigenous, made in Indian product, very reliable. And
when facts are fragmented, we put the pieces together. Where power collides with truth, we are there.
Behind me is that massive security arrangements that are in place.
Behind fractured boundaries, we clear the fog of war. Fault Lines with Gauri Dwivedi, only on NDTV World.
Rajasthan is history, culture, and much more. And I have been reporting on all things royal for more than 25 years.
The colors, the culture, and the complexities of the Northeast is different from the rest of the country. I have been bringing the Northeast closer to the capital for over 15 years.
Madhya Pradesh is the heart of India, and I have been capturing its every beat for over 10 years, covering the corridors of power, what is said, what is left unsaid, and what it actually means for you and me. I have it all covered.
Kashmir is often called paradise on earth, a region that